All right, so today's class is going to be like a Bible study, but I'm going to bring it home. So don't think, oh, it's a Bible study, I can't relate to this, oh, I'm not a Christian. Oh, no, I need you to listen because this relates to everyone. But I'm going to be reading from the Bible, and I'm going to be reading from the book of Luke, chapter 19. Luke, chapter 19, from verse 1 to 10. So it's pretty long. So allow me to read through it, and I'm going to tie it all together at the end of the day. And I feel somebody out there is going to be able to relate to this. It's called the story of Zacchaeus, the tax collector. And it says, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be a guest of a sinner. Now verse 8 says, but Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Verse 9, Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Now, this is Luke chapter 19, verse 1 to 10. It's a very interesting story, it's a very popular story about a man called Zacchaeus and his encounter with Jesus. Now, a lot of kids know this story. It's a story I heard when I was very young as a kid. It's a very popular story, but then I think we focus on the wrong things when we read this story. I think we do not know the deeper meaning of this story. So a lot of times when we talk about Zacchaeus, what we remember is a man that was diminutive in nature, short. It was probably a dwarf, and wanted to see Jesus, climbed on a tree. Jesus saw him and told him to come down. I'm coming to your house. And a lot of times we stop there. It's interesting. We find that fascinating. A man that was so short had to climb a tree to see Jesus. But, that doesn't address much. It's very hard to get a lot out of that. And I think sometimes we miss out on the juice of this particular, very popular story. And I want to start by saying that Jesus never met with anybody that didn't have a deep need. Because Jesus always said he was there for the sick, not the healthy. So when Jesus spent time with you, you know that there was a sickness you had. There was a disease you had. There was a shortcoming you had. But Zacchaeus' shortcoming was not that he was short. You understand? No. That he was short was nothing, didn't mean anything. Because after Jesus had left him, he was still short. You understand? So it wasn't that. And I can guess, to be honest with you, that he wasn't the only one that climbed a tree to see Jesus. I'm sure it couldn't have been an odd thing, because the crowds followed him, and I'm sure he wasn't the only short person. A lot of people, children would have climbed trees, some other short adults would have climbed trees. Why was his own case unique? Because Zacchaeus had a sickness. It wasn't a physical sickness. It was very deep and masked. It was a masked sickness. And I want to talk about this because I believe there are a lot of people that suffer this sickness. And I believe Zacchaeus' story is a very unique one, because when we read through the Bible, Jesus heals people, a lot of people, even more people in the Bible, of physical ailments. But Zacchaeus is very, very unique because his ailment wasn't physical, it was deeper and it was harder to see. And it's a sickness that a lot of people have today. You see, when you read through this book, through this chapter, Luke 19, it tells us that Zacchaeus was a chief tax collector. Very important information, more important than his height. Chief tax collector, and he was wealthy. Those two things were very important, and we need to note those two things: his occupation and his status, his financial status. Very important, because these things form the basis of Zacchaeus' unique illness. And this is what forms the basis of a lot of people out there that have unique illnesses too, but they're not seeking help for that illness. A lot of people seek help when they have physical illnesses, maybe a skin condition, there's something up with one of your organs, parts of the body, there's something up. Those are people that say, oh, I need healing. But a lot of you need healing for things that we cannot see, other people cannot see, but it's on your inside. It's a character healing. And it's very attached to what you do and your finances. And that's what was up with Zacchaeus. Why Jesus could sense him on that tree was the magnitude of his sickness. Because Jesus was sent to the sick, the lost. That's what he was sent to. He was sent to people that needed help. So even though Zacchaeus was on the tree, his help, his need, his sickness was so pulsating that Jesus pulsated him and said, I am coming to your house. Not only, see, I can't just heal you right here. I need to come to your house. You see, it was very important. It was a serious problem. It wasn't touch and go. You need like some private consulting. You understand? And you need a private consulting. So Jesus went to his house. And what happened to Zacchaeus after he met Jesus is how we can identify the sickness. And as I said, he remained the same height. So being short is not a crime. You understand? If you're here listening, being short is not a crime. It's okay. Zacchaeus, Jesus did not see anything wrong with his height. That's why Jesus did not fix his height. It was the height he was meant to be. His height was perfect. In fact, his height put him in a position that made the story unique. So if you're here, you're short, a lot of people complain about being short. You understand? Yeah, your height, that's fixed. That's perfect. God ordained that. So Zacchaeus' problem was not his height, because he still had the same height when Jesus left him. Now, but what didn't he have anymore what did he release? It says here in verse 8, Zacchaeus stood up and said to Jesus, Lord, here and now I give half of my possession to the poor. First healing that Zacchaeus had was a release of his stranglehold on his immense possession. The Bible says he was wealthy. The Bible doesn't use that word likely. It doesn't use it. Unless you have incredible wealth, it wouldn't be stated there. He wasn't an average man. He was a very wealthy man. But he was a wealthy man that didn't know the essence of his wealth and what he was meant to do with it. This is a very popular sickness in today's world. A lot of us need Jesus to heal us of this ailment called wealth with no direction. Wealth for accumulation. It's a sickness. It's a sickness. It's a terrible sickness. Some of us need to be delivered from it. This terrible sickness. Some of you listening right now, you're wealthy. You know it. People around you know that you're wealthy. You know you're wealthy. You know you have more wealth than you can finish. And it just keeps coming in. You know. that you are wealthy. If you're listening to me, you know yourself that you're wealthy. Unarguably, you're wealthy. Without contention. But you do not know what to do with your money. Just yesterday, I was listening to an episode of Dave Ramsey show, and somebody called in, and the guy said, I just inherited $50 million. And Dave Ramsey was like, you have to be kidding me. And I said, I'm not kidding you, I'm serious. I just inherited $50 million. And Dave Ramsey said, who on earth left you $50 million? I said, my parents. And he said, told Dave Ramsey what his parents did. He said, my dad was into selling jets and stuff like that, real estate, and he just left me $50 million. And I asked Dave Ramsey, what should I do with this money? Wealth with no direction. Didn't know what to do with it. $50 million. Doesn't know what to do with it. Parents left it to him, left money to someone that doesn't know what to do with the money. And the Ramsey, I don't normally see him like totally stunned, but he was stunned. He was like, my goodness. 50 million. Wealthy, incredibly wealthy individual, no direction what to do. Nothing. What should I do with 50 million? A lot of us have that sickness. We have wealth, but no discernment what to do with it. No discernment to just gather it. Zacchaeus had this problem, and Jesus came and healed him of it. For the first time in Zacchaeus' life, he saw the poor people around him. He was blind to them. Jesus healed his blindness. Some of us are blind. We don't understand that we are spiritually blind. There are veils over our eyes. We have wealth, but there are poor people around us. Poor people. And you're like, what should I do? I don't know what to do with my money. I don't know what to do. Should I buy another car? Buy another house? Buy more shoes? Travel more? Sickness. I want to have you know that that is a sickness that you need to be delivered from. You need God to open your eyes. Immediately Jesus came to Zacchaeus' house. Zacchaeus says, Lord, look, I'm going to give half of all my possession to the poor. The poor had been there before Jesus came. He couldn't see them because he was spiritually blind. Had great wealth, no direction. And wealth without direction would always be destructive. It would consume you. It will. The other day, my wife was sharing a story with me, and I saw her, she was watching this video, and I said, what are you watching? On YouTube. And it was a lady narrating a story of her dad who came all the way from the US, and he came to Nigeria. He had worked in the US, he was very successful for years, was a US citizen, but decided retirement yet he wanted to come to Nigeria. So he came back to Nigeria, he lives in the East, built a very big house in the East. And for a while, they stopped hearing from him. His family in the US stopped hearing from him. And they got to realize that the guy had been kidnapped by his siblings in his own house and was locked in a room while the siblings were feasting on his pension. I think about $5,000 every month coming from the US. That's millions of naira every month. And this man, his daughter was so concerned she had to come to Nigeria because she felt, I've not heard from my dad. Every time she calls, the sister will pick up and say, oh, he's not around, oh, he's sleeping, oh, he's not available, he just went upstairs in his house. I said she was like, something is not right. So she came to Nigeria and demanded to see her dad. And then she went to the dad's house. And the interesting part was how she was going from room to room looking for this man in that house, in that mansion. In a mansion, a multi-story building built by one man that was empty. in a country that people have no accommodation. One individual has a house with many rooms that he's able to be a prisoner in his own house. It was amazing seeing them going from room to room looking for him. So his wealth had built him a house. But you see, that wealth had no clear direction. So that house became his own prison and almost devoured him. By the time they saw him, they found him in a room emaciated in that house, built with his own wealth that was obviously too big for him. And all that wealth they did was to attract the wrong people. Wealth without direction always consumes us. If you have wealth, you must have direction from God to begin to see the poor people around you. And when I say poor people, let's not get it wrong. It's not just about looking at beggars and no. There are people that have visions, have assignments, have tasks that they have to do. People that have things that they have to do that your money can help them to do it, but they are financially poor. Some of you are Zacchaeus. You have that money, you're not using for anything. That money will consume you. It's a sickness, it will consume you. It will kill you just like a cancer will kill you. If Jesus did not attend to Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus would have died from his own directionless money, wealth. We see people, superstars, actors, celebrities, all they use their money for, buy cars, fast cars. Then you hear this person died in a car crash, driving too fast on the highway. Directionless money. That car cost millions of dollars, but that car also cost them their lives. How many people have you heard of? Died in their homes, celebrities. Nobody discovered them for days because the estate was so big. When they died in their homes, the stench of their bodies didn't even get to the street because the estate is so big. Your directionless wealth took your own life. There's so many people with directionless wealth today. Directionless wealth. People making so much money with no direction. They don't know what to do with it. Then they hear that one friend killed them, one girlfriend poisoned them, one family member did this. Because your wealth had no direction. You didn't see the poor and needy around you. You didn't see them. Zacchaeus was blind. That was the first thing Jesus healed him of. The second thing Jesus healed Zacchaeus of, he says, still in verse 8, first of all, said, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possession to the poor. And the second thing, if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Zacchaeus' job was a problem. That was the second sickness. His job. And if you go back to verse 2, he says he was a chief tax collector. Now, I need to explain who a tax collector was in Jesus' time. They're very wealthy people, and I'll tell you how they became wealthy. A tax collector, to be a tax collector, it was something recognized by the Roman Empire. The Roman government, which was in charge of Israel at that point in time, they lived on taxation. Because the Romans did not want to work. They won over people to work for them. So they were one of the people that fostered taxation, Romans, because they believe in an absence of work. So they wanted to earn from other people's work. So they captured communities and civilizations and societies, and they had them work. And when they work, they take from their profit or from their earnings, a percentage, just by virtue of being Roman. Now they never, because they didn't want to work, they didn't have the stamina to go, or the time, or the interest in going from door to door. So they developed a system. They had tax certificates. There were certificates they give to some people who had some means to buy these certificates to become tax collectors. So some people, if you had some means, you could become a tax collector under Roman rule. And those people who could afford it will become tax collectors. And those people are the ones that go around collecting money. Now, the Romans just had a particular amount they wanted to collect. But you, as a tax collector, had the liberty, as long as you had a certificate to be a tax collector, you could collect any amount you wanted, as long as you give Caesar what Caesar has said he wants for himself. So let's put it in form of dollars. If Caesar says every month you must give him $100,000, he doesn't care if by collecting tax what you make is 500,000. All he wants is 100,000 every single month. And the tax collectors were given the liberty to extort anything. So a lot of tax collectors, realizing this, they realized the law enabled them to collect anything. They went and they would take from their fellow men, their fellow citizens, wherever they were from, any amount, and get more for themselves and give the rest to Caesar, whatever was dedicated to Caesar, to Caesar. So I want to have you know that by law, they were not doing anything wrong. Because the law, you could never go and meet a Roman soldier and say, this tax collector is collecting too much from me. There was nothing like too much. You could collect anything you wanted to collect. And if you couldn't pay, he would take something from your house, take your child as a slave, get them to work, use the money, pay Caesar, put some in his pocket. The law enabled it. As a matter of fact, if you couldn't pay, a tax collector could take you to a Roman soldier and they would imprison you or kill you. That means by law, Zacchaeus was not doing anything wrong. But morally, he was committing a grievous offense. And that's why when he told Jesus, you see, he used the word, if I have cheated. Because legally, he had not cheated anybody. Legally, Caesar had given him authority to collect any amount of money he wanted to collect. By any means. But the if is morally. His soul, his conscience was telling him, this is not right. What I'm doing to my fellow man is not right. Just because the law allows me to do it, just because there's a gap in the law, I must have cheated people. The law enables me, but my conscience accuses me. And so he told Jesus, I am going to go back and check my conscience for every person. If I go back to the law, I have the right to take that money, but my conscience accuses me. Who are the people that suffer this sickness? A lot of them are business people. I want to talk to business people today. Because I said, look, the first thing, wealthy people. Some people are wealthy by the work they do, by their inheritance, by their business. That's cool. But the second people, that's why I say you want to take note of your tax collector. Some of you are tax collectors. You have the sickness of your occupation. The way you wield the power you have in your occupation. Some of you are business people. Some of you are government employees. Some of you are, senators, whatever it is. You are using your office. And the law backs it to oppress people. You need deliverance. You are sick. You are sick. Because we have sick, twisted laws that allows you to extort, that allows you to gouge. You go by the law and say, this is my job. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to take whatever I want. I'm entitled not to pay this. I'm entitled not to wait for traffic light by virtue of my job. I'm entitled for my escort to hit somebody. I don't need to wait because I'm too important. So my escort of my or one of the car in my entourage to hit somebody, I am entitled not to wait. Let my orderlies deal with them. And the law backs you, but your conscience is judging you because you have cheated people. I want to talk to the business people here. Some of you are running a business. You are buying things from China, buying things from the US, buying things from the UK because you have the means. You have the means to get that tax collector certificate. You have the means to travel and to buy things in large cargo and containers that other people can't. They don't have access to it. You buy for $10 in China, for $5 in the UK, and then you come to Nigeria and then you charge people $50 to $500 for that thing. You are sick. You need deliverance. You need salvation in your life like Zacchaeus did. You have cheated people, but it's not the kind of cheating that the law can come and arrest you. The Lord said you've done your job. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You went to China to buy it. There's no written law against it, but your conscience judges you because you have cheated your fellow man because of your privileged access. You need deliverance from that sickness. Some of you need restitution. Some of you need to do incredible giveaway. I know so many businesses. I can see them. I see them. They suffer on the inside. They make money, but they are not happy. They're not happy. Mental turmoil, emotional stress. But you are selling out. But those goods in your shop, you are selling them for way too expensive because you are a tax collector. Way too expensive. You have cheated people. But for you, it's not illegal. Like, why am I doing that is illegal? It's not illegal. A lot of us, we don't live by the law. The law is flawed. There are sections of the law that enable immoral things. The law is blindfolded. Doesn't see the poor, doesn't see the downtrodden, but it's also blindfolded for some immorality. That's why somebody that murders somebody, another person, gets a good enough lawyer, can get away with it. But he can't get away from his conscience. Just like you as a business person, you cannot get away from your conscience. Your conscience is judging you, like Zacchaeus' conscience is judged him while Jesus was in his house. You are heavy-handed on your fellow human being, making life difficult for other people because you are a tax collector, enabled by the prevailing Roman government, which is an evil government, but they justify your evil. And because of that, you think you are justified to do evil, but you are not. That's what Jesus is seeing. Jesus sees that you do evil. You do evil with your sales. You do evil because people do not have access, because you have a particular certificate, because you have a monopoly. You are doing evil. You need salvation. You need Jesus. You need help. You are just as sick as somebody who has a skin disease, who has a blood disease, who has a heart disease. You are even worse because yours is being unattended to. You need help. And those two categories of people is why this story is in the Bible. Those with directionless wealth. Every single earning is towards acquiring something for yourself. A house, a shoe, a bag, a wig, a shirt, a watch. Acquiring something for yourself. You fail to see poor people around you, needy people, that half of that your income can go to. Half. What you say is mine anyway. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. There's nothing wrong. What's wrong in me just enjoying some good things? What's wrong? It's my money. I worked hard for it. It's my money. It's not. It's not. It's a trust that was put in your hands so that it can reach other people. Some of you live in diaspora, live abroad. You earn a lot of money, but all you do is send it back so that it can build mansions for you. Just like this man built a mansion, became a prison for him. I hate it when I hear people abroad say, oh, I've been sending money home for them to build a mansion, but my brother stole my money. He was not building any house, was sending his children to school. Because you thought only of yourself. Your money had no direction but to satisfy your wants and your desires. And you expect the brother not to take part of that money. Before the brother's greed was your own greed. You think you got the opportunity to travel abroad and to earn money in foreign exchange so that you can come to Nigeria and just build houses that lizards would live in? That your children will not come back to Nigeria to live in? Just to say, I built a house. I built a mansion in Nigeria. Nobody's coming back to live there. You hire a gate man and does nothing but have casual sex with people in those rooms that you come into and live when you're on holiday. Those rooms are filled with demons of fornication and adultery. That house is filled with demons. So when you come with your family on vacation, you live with demons of different sorts because your money had no direction and brought no blessing. We need to do better. Zacchaeus realized this, that he needed to do better. Whenever you read the story of Zacchaeus in the Bible, stop thinking about his height. Stop thinking about the tree that he climbed. Those things are irrelevancies. Think about the things he had to drop after he met Jesus. Do you have to drop those things in your life too? I pray that some of you find deliverance from oppressing, from cheating, from directionless money. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi, and this is the TA Podcast.